Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Sky. Today I am doing a very exciting thing and I am starting a new sketchbook. After waiting for a whole week, my new sketchbook had finally arrived in the mail and I was able to finally start it. I did not have a sketchbook for like a whole week to draw in, so I was feeling very anxious while I was waiting for it. The brand of the sketchbook that I'm using is a Talon's art creation sketchbook. I really have been wanting to try one of these because I always see them on the internet and I see a lot of people using them. So I decided to try it for myself. They were actually pretty cheap. I think for the one that I got it was about $12, maybe even less. This is a bigger sketchbook than I have used before, probably the biggest sketchbook I've worked in if I am remembering correctly. I really wanted to try and use a bigger sketchbook for a while just to see if I like having more room to sketch in. My previous one was a moleskin and I kind of struggled with having enough room to work on things, so I decided to work in a bigger one this time. One of my favorite parts of getting a new sketchbook is decorating the outside, as to me it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting, also makes me want to work in it more. I decided to use up my sticker hoard and instead of painting on the front, which I did for my last sketchbook, I wanted to keep a theme for the stickers instead of just kind of picking random ones that I like and just sticking them on. And the theme I tried to follow was magic and witches. And now we shall get on with doing some sketching for the first page. I wanted to keep the theme of the first page the same as the stickers were, so I decided to create a sort of magic alternate universe for my partner and I. We had recently binged the Harry Potter movies over like 3 to 4 days. We watched them pretty quickly, and it was my first time seeing past like the second movie, so it was like my first time seeing all of them. And after watching them I was very much in a witchy magic mood when I did start the sketchbook, so I kind of went down that line for ideas for the first page. I kind of kept the world simple, with it just being like our everyday world and there being magic present. I wanted to give us some simple outfits, nothing over the top, so I just kind of slapped on a big witch hat on myself, and I don't really see my partner wearing a wizard witch hat, so I gave him just like a magic ring. Sadly you can't see his ring in the final illustration, but I did sketch it out when I was sketching. Again, not really kind of going over the top with our outfits. I may or may not come back and kind of work on it because I really did like the thought of like doing a whole alternate universe and just diving more into the ideas that I have with it, and I kind of want to make a story with the world that I made, but who knows if I'll do that at all. The one thing I knew I wanted to do was create us some familiars, because I always love like magic things that have familiars in them. That was something I really knew I wanted to do. In my magic universe, I see everyone having a unique familiar that is kind of like a pet companion. So like they follow you around, they may help you out if they have like that type of magic, I guess. I don't know. I haven't really delved too much into the world building. My familiar is a mix of a whale shark, because I just really love whale sharks right now. I just think they're so cute, and I just love how whale sharks are blind and need help, and I just love whale sharks. They're so cute. I decided to mix the whale shark with a dog not a specific breed of dog, but I just wanted them to have kind of dog-like features, so I gave them like stubby legs and their tongue is always out, and I just wanted their personality to just be like they're really happy to be there. My familiar was really inspired by Jeff the Land Shark because Marvel Rivals not recently came out. I guess it kind of came out a while ago, but I like playing as Jeff and I fell in love with Jeff when I found out about him through the game, so I just kind of made a whale shark version of him. My partner's familiar is a mix of a black cat and a black bear, I would guess. Not really a specific type of bear, I just kind of went with a bear. I thought it would be really funny if he kind of had the stature of like Jake the dog, as he always just like stands on his hind legs and he walks around like a normal person, and I thought that was just a really funny thing to do with my partner's familiar. So he's just a boy, he's just there. After sketching out just my basic ideas for the characters, I did some quick thumbnails for the actual first page. I was not really vibing with kind of the thumbnails that I made, since I wanted to make a full illustration with a background and everything. I ended up taking maybe like a day away, and then I came back with an idea that I really liked, so I sat down and I thumbnailed the idea again. Now, to move on to doing the actual first page of the sketchbook. For the actual sketching part, I am using a pink Prismacolor pencil. I actually didn't really like that I sketched with it, but I will get back to that later. So here I am just kind of sketching my idea out, and unfortunately I actually did not get footage of me sketching like half of the illustration because I started recording and I had to step away from my desk, like maybe I went to the kitchen or something, and so I paused my recording so that it wasn't recording unnecessary like footage of me not being there. And when I came back, I sat down and I just continued to draw, and I completely forgot to press continue on my recording. So sadly, I did not get me sketching the like background of the illustration, so like half of it. I did, however, notice that I was not recording, and I took a second. I was just like, dang it. And then I continued to record, and I managed to sketch out. I managed to get the part of me sketching my partner out and myself out, so I was relieved I got that. I would probably have been so heartbroken if I didn't get any of the sketching process. Even though that part did happen, I actually really enjoyed how the sketch was coming out and just how the sketching process of this was coming out. So I probably would not have forgiven myself if I just decided to go in with my markers with no prior plan to where the colors were going to be. So I did decide that once the sketch was done, I was just going to take a picture of it and then switch over to my iPad so that I could put it into Procreate and do the coloring digitally, so I did not mess up the actual illustration. The idea behind this illustration was that my partner and I were brewing some type of potion, not sure what specific potion, as witches and wizards do. As we were making it, we accidentally maybe put in the wrong ingredient, or maybe we did not follow the recipe quite correctly, and instead of making the original potion that we were trying to make, we accidentally made a sleeping potion. The mist from the potion kind of started to fill the room, and we ultimately breathed in our unfortunate mistake. Before we could notice our mistake, we started to get very sleepy, and I don't know why we have pillows on the floor of our cauldron room, but we do. And after we breathed in our sleeping potion mist, we cuddled up with our familiars on our pillow-filled floor, and we fell into a deep sleep. Don't worry, we do end up waking up later on, but that is a story to continue on my halfway page and the final page of the sketchbook, since I kind of like to make those a story, kind of, or have them all be conjoined together. When coloring in Procreate, I wanted to keep it sort of simple, since I am not able to completely copy the coloring from digital to traditional. So going in, I knew I wanted to keep the illustration very simple with the colors, and to have it just be like a basic idea for me to kind of get what I was seeing in my head onto something, so then later on when I did it with the markers, I was able to know what colors to choose. I did want the illustration to be kind of purple heavy within the colors, just because I think kind of it gives it a nice atmosphere. I started out with doing some basic colors just to get a sense of what colors go together, like with the outfits and the background, and just making sure things went together color-wise. And then after I did that, I did a simple purple multiply layer for the shadows, and I lowered the opacity on the multiply layer, and then I went in with the eraser tool to erase where the light would be in the piece. I wanted the light source to be the cauldron, as if like it was glowing with the potion inside of it, just to kind of, again, atmosphere within the illustration. The last thing I did to kind of push that color / light onto ourselves, I made a overlay layer in Procreate, and then I went in with like a bright purple color, and it gives the whatever you put down on the canvas kind of a glowing effect. So I use that to kind of give myself an indication of where I wanted more purple, say on our faces and like on our familiars, just things where the purple light would kind of bounce off of our faces to give that purple glow on us. Now that I have a color reference and some nice warm tea to work with, for my markers, I will be using my Copic markers that I have for the coloring part. Having a coloring reference made this process go like probably 100 times more quick, just because I was able to kind of look at the sheet that I had with all my colors on it and just look at my coloring reference and just kind of like, oh, that one matches that one, that one matches that one, to choose, so that like it was just a lot easier to have the reference so that I was able to color match. If you ever like make a traditional drawing and you don't know the colors you're going to use, and if you're really scared to mess it up, I highly recommend doing this, where you take a picture of your work and then you color it digitally. The way I do it, I don't know if I do it correctly, but it works for me. I will take the picture into whatever drawing program I'm using. I will duplicate that image and then kind of mess with the colors on it so that it's a little bit brighter to work with, and then I will turn that image into a multiply layer and work on a layer below the image layer, and you'll be able to see the colors below the image. So there's a lot better videos on YouTube on how to do it, but this is really a rough way how I do it. Coloring went really well on the paper. I think some issues I did run into with the paper in the sketchbook when I was using my Copic markers was when I put the colors down, some of the colors actually went down kind of gray, and that kind of scared me. I was putting down the skin tones for my partner and I in the illustration, and I freaked out for a second because the skin tones went down really gray, and I was like, oh god, did I just mess up my thing? And I just started it. But after a while, letting the markers dry on the paper, the color actually corrected itself. Luckily, I knew about this with some paper, that the marker will go down darker, maybe not the color you think it might go down as, and just letting it dry will have the marker be the correct color. This mainly happened with the skin tone, so more of like the brown and tans within the illustration, but I would probably work with markers again in the paper. I did not go too much into detail on the shadows with the markers like I probably could have. I was, again, just really scared of messing up the illustration because I didn't want it to mess up and I'm not able to revert my mistake because I'm doing it traditionally. So I more use the markers as a base layer, kind of, to just put the colors down to begin with. And then I went in with colored pencils to finish the rendering on it. When it came to line art, it actually was not working out how I originally wanted to go. I wanted to use my multi-liners for the line art, but here is where the mistake of using a Prismacolor pencil for the sketch comes in. Since Prismacolor pencils are mainly wax based, the multi-liner did not want to lay down correctly at all, or just it did not go down on the paper. I would put it down and the pen would just refuse to let ink out of it. So I had to change the way I was going to go about doing my line art. I originally used the pencil because I thought the marker would kind of melt it away, but it did not because it's wax based, and I think if I sketch again with colored pencils, I will use my Faber-Castell polychromos to do it because those are oil based and those tend to easily break down with the markers more. So since the multi-liners did not work, I decided to switch over to using my Faber-Castell polychromos instead, which maybe was for the best because I really liked how the line art came out when using the polychromos. The polychromos actually gave it a softer line art than a multi-liner probably would have, which is something I actually do want to put into my art more, which is soft line art, because I just really like the way it looks when I see other people do it. So that was actually a big success, so I will probably be using colored pencils in the future more to do line art. I really liked how I was able to use different colors as well instead of just sticking with like black or brown for the line art, and when it came to two different colors meeting, it blended a lot better than it would have with multi-liners. So using the polychromos for line art was a lot easier in my opinion. After doing the line art, I did go in with the polychromos again to do more rendering on the piece in places of where I wanted more shadows or where I wanted more details or even purple for the lighting. Some areas where I did not have the correct color or a dark enough color in a marker, I did layer with a polychromo, so you'll probably notice this more in the area of my like partner's hoodie, my witch hat, my socks that I'm wearing, or my partner's familiar where it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to, so I went over it with a purple, and I know you're not supposed to use black, but I did use a black polychromo to go over it, and it actually made the color exactly how I wanted it, so that was pretty cool to learn about the layering techniques to get the color that I wanted. After finishing the rendering with my polychromos, I like to go in with a white acrylic marker just to add some finishing details, fix some little spots that just need to be fixed, or if there's spots in the piece that need white, I will go over it with a white acrylic marker. I use the white acrylic marker to add the spots on my familiar because whale sharks have little white spots all over them. The little snore bubbles that my partner and his familiar have coming out of their mouth, and then just some white highlights to push the light direction a little bit more. I also use the white acrylic marker to give a little bit more detail within like the mist that is coming out of the cauldron. I would call the illustration finished. It was at a good point to where I felt like I could just stop messing with it. Some final things I did for the beginning of the sketchbook was that I did add some goals to keep in mind. I just kind of wrote these on a piece of paper that I had lying around. These goals aren't really supposed to be like things I can only work on in the sketchbook, but more things that I would just like to improve on or work on while I am in the sketchbook. Then I just added some more stickers to add a little bit more fun to the spread, and then I just ended up gluing the little slip the sketchbook came with that has the brand on it. This is now finished. I am filming this a couple of days after I finish this, so there is a bit of sketches in here already, and I really like how this came out. I think I did a really good job of using my Copics and using my pencils. I wonder if you can hear the rain outside because it is raining right now. Also, I wonder if you can hear Goop because he's being sassy at me right now. But the paper on here, I think it was pretty good for markers. I had a little bit of struggle when it came to blending on the markers, but like the blending came out really good right here, but you can see kind of streaks right here. But I kind of think it might have been because this is the flyleaf page and not like an actual page of the sketchbook. The bleeding was not, I know maybe some people might say this is bad, but to me this is not terrible bleeding. It did bleed with most of the colors, but like you can still kind of see the sketches here that I did. If I do any more marker work, which I'm hoping to do some more marker work in here, I most likely will do it on the right side of the page. I'm pretty happy with this. Now technically I am not finished with my 7th sketchbook. Go to the side. I'm technically not finished with this one, but I'm getting pretty close. I'm using the rest of this one to continue my Eevee series that I'm doing, where I'm making each evolution into a Gajinka. So basically I'm turning them into humans and kind of just doing design for each of them. And yeah, I'm using the last bit of the pages to do that. So this probably won't be done maybe for a couple of weeks, just because I kind of like to do these maybe like once a week. Here's a little sneak peek at the next one. Of course, we were doing Jolteon because I've done Flareon and Vaporeon before. So here's a little sneak peek at Jolteon's design. That is kind of it for this video. I'm just really happy with this, and I'm really excited to continue working in the sketchbook. I've only worked in it a little bit so far, as you can tell, but I am really liking the bigger pages. I feel like I have a lot more room to work with, but when I am on a new page, it's a little daunting to have such a big page to work with, but that is okay. We'll get over that. We'll get over that anxiety. But yes, anyways, thank you for joining today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making the first page and like just decorating this and having this decorated and the first page done. I'm really excited to just work more in it. I'm honestly curious on how fast I will do this one, because even though technically this one's not done, this is the fastest sketchbook I've ever filled out. It normally takes me like a little over a year to fill out sketchbooks, but I started this one in August? Yes, August. And it hasn't even been a year, and this one's pretty much almost done. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't suspect I'll finish this one pretty quick just because it is a lot bigger, but I'm just really curious on how fast I'll fill this one out. So thank you for joining me for today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one.